We'd like to start the press conference by Minister Kamikawa. Minister, the floor is yours. Thank you. I would like to share with you information on 5 matters. The first matter, from July 25th up until the 28th, I will be visiting Laos to attend the ASEAN-related 4 ministers meeting. As far as ASEAN countries are concerned, as partners, aiming to create peace and prosperity through co-creation based on credibility and trust. We are working together to address various issues of the day, and that is the position which we will take in attendance of this meeting. In particular, I would like to focus on the following 2 points. First is initiatives to realize prosperity. Japan has always supported ASEAN centrality and unity and have contributed to the strengthening of its connectivity. At the special leaders meeting, which was carried out in December last year, they adopted implementation plan. We will confirm the steadfast progress in this plan, and we will aim to realize co-creation to bring about solution. Second is initiatives on peace and stability. As was the case with the anti-landmines package, which we announced upon our visit to Cambodia recently, we aim to seek a future where Japan and ASEAN can work together to contribute to bringing about peace and stability, both regionally and globally. We'll discuss various regional and international issues, and we'll maintain and strengthen free and open international order, which is based on rule of law, and we would like to further spread the notion of protecting and safeguarding human dignity. This will be the first meeting, face-to-face meeting rather, with Mekong countries since August of 2019, and at that meeting, we will aim to realize prosperity and development together with Mekong region. We're also contemplating bilateral meetings as well. In conjunction with the 5 ASEAN-related meetings, we hope to carry out multi-layered diplomatic activities at this occasion.
Next, the second point. As part of our support for Japanese companies in view of their activities in the ASEAN market, we have decided to nominate officials in charge of economic affairs in broad areas in embassies in Singapore, Thailand, Indonesia, and Vietnam, as well as in the Consulate General in Ho Chi Minh and embassy in India. So altogether, in 6 diplomatic missions in 5 countries, we have decided to nominate such officials. Japan has long been supporting ASEAN's communities' integration and connectivity. ASEAN is conducting regional trade quite actively, given that it is important for us to provide strong support to the Japanese businesses who are playing a role in promoting trade in the area. And by facilitating the growth of ASEAN market as a whole, it is important that the vitality of the market is incorporated in the Japanese economy. In the ASEAN region, given the needs of Japanese businesses, from these viewpoints, we would like to promote support for Japanese companies through the nomination of these officials. And for officials in charge of economic affairs in broad areas, we would like to generally and gradually expand the areas of coverage for them, and to set up a structure to comprehensively cover the Global South by the end of the year. So I hope this support service by the officials will be utilized.
Third point. From July 28th through 29th, U.S. Secretary of State Secretary Blinken is due to arrive in Japan, and on the 28th, we intend to hold U.S.-Japan full ministerial meeting with Secretary Blinken on that day. Also, Secretary of Defense Secretary Austin is also due to arrive at the same time. And on July 28th, we will be holding the so-called Japan-US 2+2, and also we intend to host U.S.-Japan ministerial meeting on extended deterrence on the same day. As the security environment pertaining to Japan become ever more harsh, the importance of U.S.-Japan alliance is heightening. Also, in April, I had the pleasure of accompanying Prime Minister Kishida's official visit to the U.S. And bearing in mind the outcome of the visit, especially in the security area, I believe welcoming these 2 secretaries to further deepen discussion will be a very valuable opportunity for me. Now, this will be the first attendance personally upon Japan US to plus two since appointed as the minister. But I hope to have candid views with the two secretaries on future cooperation to realize free and open Indo-Pacific, as well as strengthening of deterrence and response of the U.S.-Japan alliance, as well as to have discussions on the directionality of security and defense cooperation between the two countries in this region.
The fourth point. On the 29th of July in Tokyo, we are to convene a Japan, U.S., Australia, India foreign ministerial meeting with the U.S. State Secretary Blinken, Australia's Foreign Minister Wong, and India's Foreign Minister Jai Shankar will be serving as the chair. The four countries' foreign ministerial held in Japan is the second time since the one in October 2020. Japan, US, Australia, and India are having this meeting as a concrete initiative for the four countries sharing basic values to collaborate to realize FOIP, to discuss issues in broad ranges of fields such as maritime, WPS, critical emerging technology, cyber, HA and DR, humanitarian assistance, disaster response, and information. Following the last meeting in New York in September last year, we are to exchange in strategic and candid exchange of views. Through this meeting in Tokyo, we would like to demonstrate the four countries' powerful commitment to cooperate to truly benefit the countries in the region from here in Tokyo.
Finally, the fifth point. Today, on the 23rd, as part of the diplomatic activities of outreach activities here in Japan, I'm scheduled to receive visits by ambassadors from Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Turkmenistan. Japan launched Central Asia and Japan Dialogue back in 2004 ahead of other countries. This year, this dialogue will celebrate its 20th anniversary. The geopolitical importance of Central Asia, surrounded by China, Russia, and Iran and Afghanistan, is becoming even more higher these days. Also, these are regions with high resources such as oil and natural gas, uranium, as well as energy and mining resources, mineral resources, and also they have very strong population growth as well as growing market. Should the situation allow, next month, Prime Minister Kishida is scheduled to visit Kazakhstan. It will be holding the first ladies' meeting there. So that good outcome can be reached through that meeting, I would like to leverage the courtesy visit today and hope that we'll be able to confirm our collaboration and coordination with various countries towards the leaders' meeting. So that is all for myself. Thank you.
Those of you with questions, once nominated, please come to the microphone, state your name and affiliation before asking your questions. Igarashi-san of NHK, go ahead. Igarashi from NHK. About Japan-China relationship, I have a question. In Laos, there's going to be ASEAN Foreign Ministerial meeting, and you, the minister, and China foreign minister are to have a meeting. It is rumored. Is that true? And what is your thinking on the meeting if it is to be held? So ASEAN Foreign Ministerial meeting at that time about the meeting between myself and China Foreign Minister, nothing has been decided yet. Upon saying so, if I may say the following, we would like to continue with our strategically beneficial relationship between the two countries and to promote constructive and stable bilateral relationship. That is Prime Minister Kishida's intent to push for that through mutual efforts and to have communication at multi levels. And so we are now coordinating in view of having such a meeting with various participating countries.
Thank you, Kamil from Yomiuri. You talked about U.S.-Japan mutual meeting. in relation to deterrence. When you considering the situation pertaining to China, Russia, and North Korea, can you talk about the significance and the meaning of holding this U.S.-Japan extended deterrence meeting at ministerial level? And also, is there a need to compile a joint declaration or joint document with regard to extended deterrence? The second point, in the Far East, there is nuclear threat in the Far East as well, Far East Japan as well, Far East Asia as well, rather. Prime Minister Nakasone played a very significant role vis-a-vis President Reagan when in relation to the closing of INF treaty. Can you talk about the role Japan can play in this area in terms of nuclear deterrence and nuclear management? Thank you. Thank you. Yes, with regard to it's with regard to the U.S.-Japan Ministerial Conference, with regard to extended conference, which I just talked about earlier. Bearing in mind the U.S.-Japan leaders meeting that was held in April this year, they will be carrying out very deep, thorough discussion in relation to extended deterrence at the ministerial level. As I mentioned earlier, the security situation pertaining to Japan is becoming even more harsh. So therefore, bilateral cooperation to seek extension and strengthening of extended deterrence by U.S., I believe is very meaningful as we, in having the discussion on top of having the discussion at the ministerial level is very significant, I believe. On top of the various ministerial meetings we had, on top of the conferences we had in the past, and also with regard to arms control in Indo-Pacific, from that perspective, I believe it's important that Japan continues to build and involve various countries in this region in relation to these initiatives. So therefore, we'll continue to strengthen the basis of trust with U.S., which is our only ally, and also we will be pursuing initiatives that are very realistic and practical. And by doing so, we hope that we'll be able to involve various countries as we pursue initiatives in relation to arms control and arms reduction. Thank you.
Next question, Murakami-san of GG Press. Go ahead. Murakami from GG, thank you. About the U.S. Presidential election, I have a question. President Biden has announced that he will be stepping aside from candidacy, given that there are concerns that the U.S. administration could turn into a lame duck. And what was announced, Japan-U.S. 2+2 extended deterrence consultations, as well as impact on the security situation in the Indo-Pacific. What do you think is going to be the impact from this? What is your thought, Minister? U.S.-Japan alliance is at the heart of Japan's diplomatic and security policies. So on a day-to-day basis, we're having very close communication between the two countries at various levels. On the 28th of June, we're going to have the next U.S.-Japan 2+2. Given the results that Prime Minister Kishida achieved in his April visit to the U.S. in terms of security and defense cooperation with the U.S., our cooperation to realize FOIP, and ways to strengthen deterrence and response capabilities under the bilateral alliance. We would like to discuss the direction for bilateral security and defense cooperation. So given the results of U.S.-Japan 2+2, we will continue to have close communication with the U.S. government. As to the domestic affairs of the U.S., inclusive of their impact on the Indo-Pacific security, we're having keen interest. We would like to continue to closely monitor that. Thank you.
Next question. Nishiyama-san from Kyodo Press, please. Kyodo. Thank you. Nishiyama from Kyodo. I have to ask about crime being conducted by U.S. military officials stationed in Okinawa. Now, even I believe that when there are crimes, I believe you have a notification system with regard to sharing of information by, in terms of crime being information conducted by crime. Do you intend to extend this notification system outside Okinawa. And also, the U.S. military in Japan also announced measures to stop the recurrence of this crime. I understand that you're considering a new form. Can you talk about what type of form? And also, what about the relationship with this new form vis-a-vis CWT? If you can talk about that, thank you very much. Yes, first of all, with regard to information about crime being conducted by U.S. military forces in Okinawa, on July 5th, Chief Cabinet Secretary Mr. Hayashi made an announcement on the following. He made an announcement about the management of a new system for domestic information sharing system with regard to sex crime being conducted by U.S. military forces. In Okinawa, where the 70% of areas and facilities of U.S. forces in Japan are concentrated, from the standpoint of preventing crime by U.S. military forces, there's a need to consider response expeditiously, and that is why the system was launched in Okinawa. With regard to prefectures outside Okinawa, when issues that may be subject to the implementation of this mechanism were to arise, then bearing in mind the impact of the privacy and reputation of the victim as well as impact on the investigation, bearing in mind the judgment of the investigative authorities with regard to the scope of information sharing, will be individually consulting each cases with the relevant prefectural authorities. Also, with regard to question about this prevention of reoccurrence of these issues, with the sex crime by U.S. forces in the United States, I believe on July 11th, there was an article provided by Ambassador Emmanuel as well as Captain Turner, who is the head of the Marine 3rd Expeditionary Forces, and also on the 19th of press announcement by the Expeditionary Forces, as well as reports by Commander Rapp of U.S. Forces Japan on the 22nd. They'll be reinforcing checks on drinking of people who enter and leave U.S. forces in Japan, facilities in Japan rather, and also they have been reinforcing patrols by U.S. military forces, police forces rather. They will be also strengthening training program. They'll also be revisiting the literacy system, and also in this, the U.S. side has decided to include creation of a new form for creation between U.S. forces in Japan, Japanese government, and the Okinawa prefecture government, as well as members of the local community. This represents a demonstration of how serious the U.S. takes the situation. And also, Governor Tamaki of Okinawa said that the fact that the U.S. side has suggested the creation of this form represents that they're seriously considering the recurrence of these issues. Now, with regard to the new form which was announced by the U.S. side, with regard to the concrete membership as well as the agenda is concerned, nothing has been determined at this moment. However, I believe in order to realize the common objective between U.S. and Japan, which is to prevent such incidents and accidents by U.S. military forces in Japan, I believe that Japanese government will be rendering its maximum cooperation so that we'll be able to have constructive discussions with the local community. Thank you.
Given these developments, what I think is important is the measures taken by the U.S. are to be fully implemented without fail, and that they need to lead to prevention of similar incidents in the future. At the end of this month, we're going to have 2+2, taking that opportunity so that these measures can be implemented fully. We would like to urge the U.S. to do so.
Imai-san from Hokkaido Shimbun, please. Thank you. My name is Imai from Hokkaido newspaper. Thank you. I'll just ask about the Northern Territory issue, if I may. In the beginning, earlier this month, Governor Suzuki of Hokkaido, at the session of the special session on Okinawa and Hokkaido issues at the lower house, he suggested that he would like to have a discussion with the residents with foreign residents of the island, as well as with First Minister Kamikawa, about the notion of maritime consolidation. I understand that you have not yet visited Northern Territories yourself, but can you talk about the notion of maritime consolidation of these spirits? Do you intend to visit the Hokkaido? Do you intend to visit the Northern Territories going forward? Yes. In May of this year, there was a request put forward by Governor Suzuki of Hokkaido, as well as Mr. Mizumoto, who is the head of the Jishima League. And I was there at the meeting. Now, relevant people said that since the possibility of actual grave visits in the Northern Territories are not possible at this moment, they wanted to at least consider facilitation of realizing on-board consolation. And the Prime Minister Kishida also mentioned that he would like to have the Japanese government consider very robust in matters, the possibility of paying of maritime consoling of the spirits. As far as Mr. Foreign Affairs is concerned, we have to continue to maintain close coordination with relevant organizations with regard to the maritime consolation of the spirit. With regard to the visit to this region, to consider diplomatic special and make appropriate decisions. Thank you.
Asahi Shimbun, Matsuyama-san. Matsuyama from Asahi Shimbun. I have two questions. Earlier, reporter from Yomiuri asked about the ministerial meeting for extended deterrence consultations about the joint document that you are looking to summarize and agree upon by the end of the year. If you could share anything on that. Do you have any plans to issue a joint communique? And the second question about U.S. troops in Okinawa, there was mention about preventive measures. And yesterday, there was an announcement about setting up a new forum. And so are these going to be all the measures to be taken by the U.S.? Is that your understanding? And with respect to preventive measures, you have said that we should eradicate such crimes in Okinawa. Do you think that the U.S. measures are sufficient? So to address your first question, between the U.S. and Japan, at the working level, we're having various efforts, including a meeting between the two countries to consult on extended deterrence. And on a day-to-day basis, broadly and at multi-levels, we're having close communication with each other. This pertains to Japan's security as well as our relationship with the U.S. So I would like to refrain from sharing further details at this moment. And about the issue in Okinawa. So sexual crimes by U.S. troops have been repeated. We're taking this very seriously, considering what the victims have had to go through. It's heartbreaking to think about them. I am one to promote WPS, and I think that the situation of repeated crimes is unbearable for me. And between the two countries, we are coordinating various proactive measures. That is my understanding. To the U.S., we're asking for stronger discipline among the U.S. troops in Japan. And we have demanded that effective preventive measures be taken by the U.S., and various measures have been announced by the U.S. side. But these measures, once announced, need to be implemented effectively, as I said earlier. So for various issues and areas of improvement, we are going to have a new forum and other initiatives. So we need to set them up solidly to make sure that such incidents never happen in the future. We need to create such an environment, and we would like to expand our maximum efforts at that.
Mr. Azahari, your question, please.
News. What is Japan's position on the Israeli attacks on the civilian facilities, especially power stations in the city of Hadida in Yemen? Do you support it? Thank you.
According to the announcement made by the Israeli government on July 19th of local time, I understand the drone-based attack was carried out by Houthis of Yemen, targeting Tel Aviv. We also understand that there have been multiple deaths and injuries as a result. So, against this backdrop, on the following day, on the 20th of the local time, the Israeli forces, I understand, carried out an air raid of Hodeida port in Yemen, as they're being used for military purposes. So the Japanese government is concerned. We condemn the attack by the Houthis. We're also very seriously concerned about the Middle East situation right now, and we strongly seek that there be no further escalation of the situation. We'll continue to carry out patient diplomatic activities so that we'll be able to contribute toward the relaxation of the situation in the Middle East and also toward the stability of the region. Thank you.
Isan-san of Toa Nippon. My name is Lee from Korea's Toa Nippon. I have a question regarding the gold mine in Sado. From 26th, there's going to be UNESCO's World Heritage Committee meeting, and there's going to be a meeting regarding World Heritage registration. I understand that consultations are taking place between the U.S. and Korean governments regarding this. And ICOMOS has instructed that strategy to comprehensively explain and exhibit the entire history at the site needs to be formulated. So what is Japan's stance on this? And is there going to be a government-to-government understanding before the meeting? So what you pointed out, the recommendation by ICOMOS, the Japanese government takes the recommendation seriously, and we would like to closely collaborate with the local government and the World Heritage Committee meeting that is convened right now toward realization of registration of gold mine in Sado Island. What is most effective, we would like to consider, and we're having such comprehensive discussions at the government level. We would like to make government-wide efforts at this. With respect to realizing the registration of gold mine in Sado Island, we're having good faith discussions with Korea, but the dialogue with Korea is a diplomatic interaction. I would like to refrain from providing you with the details, but we would like to continue with very meticulous discussions with the Korea government in good faith.
The final question of the day from GG Press. The coming from GG Press. I want to ask about Japan-U.S. Japan-China relations. Right now, Mr. Ma Zhaoshu, who is the Executive Vice President of Minister Foreign Affairs of China, I believe he's in Japan, and understand that he held a dialogue for the first time in 4 years with Deputy Minister Okano. I understand that he also paid a courtesy visit to you. Can you talk about the discussions you had about Japan-China relations with the Vice Minister? And also, can you talk about whether you had discussions about issues of concern such as the detaining of Japanese nationals about their needs, as well as the treatment of Alps water? Yes, on 22nd, and there was a Japan-China strategic dialogue held between Vice Minister Okano and Minister Ma Zhaoshu, the Vice President of the Minister of Foreign Affairs of China. I believe this is the first meeting since January of 2020. We welcome that meeting, and also, we believe that this will be a very good opportunity for us to further promote strategic interests based on strategic relationship based on common strategic interests, and also to realize constructive, stable Japan-China relations. We're able to confirm that both sides will make efforts to promote these ideas, and also we had very candid exchange of views about the regional issues, as well as global issues, as well as bilateral issues over the medium to long term. And also the 23rd, today, I did receive a courtesy call by Vice Minister Ma Zhao-yu. Now, at the courtesy visit, during the courtesy meeting, I expressed my welcome that we're able to hold Japan-China strategic dialogue for the first time in 4 years with attendance of Minister Ma on the 22nd. And also for comprehensive promotion of strategic common interests, of common beneficial interests, as well as for the realization of constructive stability relationships. I believe that we may comment that hopefully we'll be able to further deepen our multi-layered dialogue in very broad areas going forward. Thank you. That's all for the press conference today. Thank you for attendance.